Hey, what is up guys? President Clash here. Welcome to another video, and today I'm going to be showcasing the top 5 worst cards in Clash Royale. And there were a lot of factors that went into making this list. Factors such as when do you unlock the cards, factors like according to Clash Royale deckbuilder.com, how many of these cards are seen in the last 50 competitive decks in the game, and other factors such as where these cards are being used at what arena. So basically I've compiled this deck, this unbiased deck, and this is probably the top 5 worst cards as of June 1st, 2016. This is obviously going to change as more cards are added to the game, or cards are buffed or nerfed, things such as this, but as of right now, these are going to be the 5 worst cards. Starting with number 1 or number 5 on our list, and that is the Xbow. So the Xbow is an epic, and it's a type of building. It's basically a defense, and basically what it does is it serves the same purpose in Clash of Clans. It just shoots your enemy with arrows. It shoots pretty fast. But ever since they nerfed this card, it's been one of the worst cards in the game, and it was always for like people who like to troll. And nowadays, people only use this card for trolling. Otherwise, this card doesn't really serve a use in actual multiplayer battle. And also, the elixir cost kind of ruins the point of it, because it's a 6 elixir cost and doesn't really work well with decks. People want to be as cheap as possible while also having a good deck, especially if you don't have the elixir collector. And this is used mostly among low-level guys who don't really know how the game works. So this is number 5 on our list. Number 4 on our list is the Mortar. So this is number 4, and it is another defense. However, it is a common card unlocked at Arena 6. And basically this is a defensive building with a long range that shoots exploding shells at it and deal area damage. Ever since this card was nerfed in the recent update, this card stopped being used a lot. I literally never played with this card in my life, and the only purpose this card ever serves is for trolling. Obviously, if they were to buff it, but why would they buff the card when they just nerfed it? Because it was getting really annoying for Mortar users who just spawn this and destroy your tower, and that's the reason why it's not really much of an important card anymore. It never needed to be an important card. It's just a common card. If you want it in your deck, you can have it, but it's not really necessary, and that's why this is in the top 5 worst cards. If they were to take any cards out of this game, Mortar would definitely be one of them. So moving on to another card on this list, and our number 3, and that is the Furnace. So according to Clash Royale deckbuilder.com, the Furnace spawns 2 fire spirits at a time, and it is seen in 0% of the last 50 competitive decks. And when I say competitive deck, these are decks that have been used in tournaments, events, and 0 of those players at these tournaments have used the Furnace. And by the way, I don't think I mentioned this for the Xbow or Mortar. They have the exact same percentage, and that's 4% in the last 50 competitive decks. So people don't really use these cards, and that also allows me to interpret these cards as some of the worst used cards in the game. And getting back to where we're at, the Furnace isn't okay, but it's pretty bad of a card. The 5 elixir cost is definitely not worth it, especially since it spawns 2 fire spirits at a time. If you're gonna be trolling with a spawner deck, sure, you can use the card, but still, this is not really a good card for multiplayer battle. And the regular fire spirits serve a much better purpose, because they can take out minion hordes, barbarians, and they do splash damage, which is perfectly good for taking out small and big cards. So unfortunately, the Furnace is number 3 on our worst cards list. Moving on to number 2, and that is the Tombstone. So the Tombstone is one of the worst cards in the game. It's unlocked, I believe, in Arena 2 or 3. And basically, as a beginning level player, there's no doubt about it, people are going to use this card either for trolling or either for like the beginning when you're starting out the game. I personally use the card, and I was able to adapt a deck for it. However, at this, as you move forward in the game, this card becomes especially useless. Kind of like the Skeleton Army, but the Skeleton Army is not in this because it's used far more than the Tombstone. And the Tombstone, it spawns some skeletons and is a good counter for Hog Riders, right? But it's not really useful when a huge push is coming at you, and again, no one uses it up in higher leagues. And moving on to our last and final worst card of the game, and this is the first one on our list, and that card is the Lava Hound. So I don't know if you guys expected any legendaries to be on this list, but the reason why the Lava Hound is in this deck, or is in this list, is for a couple of reasons. First of all, the legendary that they added, the Lava Hound, is a really nice legendary. Personally, I love it, but it's one of the most underused legendaries in the game, making it one of the worst legendaries and one of the worst cards. And if you look at the ratings, it's seen in 0% of the last 50 competitive decks. It basically has the same rating as, let's see here, as the Furnace. And that just kind of already tells for itself that the Lava Hound isn't really useful. Although it's unlocked at Arena 4, it could be a card, a universal card that could be being used from Arena 4 to Arena 8. However, it's not. People tend to not really use this card. They only use it when they're doing, air battles and friendly battle mode. And this card hasn't come up with any good strategies, given the fact that this card has a low damage ratio, and the health, it's just really slow. So people tend to ignore this card and let their towers and maybe some spear goblins handle the Lava Hound. And that's the reason why it really serves no importance, because people don't even care about it to even counter it. And that's some of the most important things. This is definitely going to need a buff if they want to bring the card up. Anyways, that's a wrap, guys. Thanks for watching, and leave a like on this video if you guys enjoyed and want to see more top 5s. And that's it for this video. See ya next time. This has been President Clash, bringing you guys the best in Clash.